Before the meeting starts, all lines are placed on mute. Today's conference agenda is as follows. First of all, CEO Peta will go over first quarter business highlight.
Key milestones in the first quarter. We have received approval of enzalutamide softgel capsule in the UK. Potentially, this gives us opportunity to launch the product with a partner. We have as partners actually two of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. The launch is basically conditional to invalidation of particular patents, which is very likely, but it's not 100% certain. So we are preparing as we speak for this launch. So we are building stock, and again, hopefully this launch will materialize later this year. We launched also pomalidomide in Taiwan as a first generic, also vinorelbine as a first generic in Malaysia as well as Philippines. And the same applies for enzalutamide. We launched the product through our partner for this product in Dr. Reddy's in Vietnam, also as a first generic. In terms of R&D deliverables, three bio studies have been successfully completed for three projects, and we initiated one new project, which is first to file. I would like to highlight here the fact that we have gained very good progress with one 505(b)(2) program. It's oral oncology, our first oral oncology 505(b)(2) program for the US. So we have passed successfully filed BAF study, and we are continuing with this project, which looks quite promising, and we are very excited. So overall, we have 27 ongoing projects now in R&D in different stages. Business development, we have finalized the contract in licensing agreement for Asia for generic of Lupron. It's a highly complex injectable product, long-acting injectable based on a microsphere technology. So this is extremely hard to develop, to manufacture product, and obviously only a handful of companies having technology and facility to make this product. So we believe that we have a contract with probably the best possible partner here, and we are quite excited about it. We have a lot of projects going on now on the business development, and there are 4 projects which are quite advanced. I will talk more about them, not in concrete, but just give you a high level during the Southeast Asia section. On the licensing out part, the highlight is the licensing out deal with leading company in Japan for pomalidomide. So this is extension of our existing development program, which was successfully finalized for the rest of the world, and we think we're in a good position to launch the product in Japan through our partner on the patent expiry. Here on this slide, we are illustrating the progress with the rollout of our existing pipeline, which is internally developed by Lotus team. So these are again products which are already completed as development. As you know, lenalidomide is our flagship product. So we have completed the launch phase in 88% of the targeted markets. There are a few more markets where we want to launch the product. Obviously, US market is the flagship market. We already launched in many markets in Asia, Europe, also Latin America. There are a couple of markets now in the Middle East. Also, we are seeing very good progress with lenalidomide launch in Japan, which was in December last year. Vinorelbine, similar to lenalidomide, we have almost completed the launches in all the targeted markets. I would like to highlight here the fact that Lotus remains as the only supplier of a generic formulation, which demonstrates that this is really highly complex product in terms of formulation, as well as clinical development and manufacturing. Enzalutamide softgel, we are We were one of the first company, as you remember, to launch the product in patent-free markets in Latin America, and enzalutamide was a big driver for first quarter sales, the export outside the US. The key now is, of course, to execute the launch in UK, which again we are very well positioned, and to roll out the product in other markets based on patent expiry. Obviously, we'll see much more launches coming in the outer years from recently completed programs like pomalidomide, nintedanib, as well as midostaurin and tofacitinib. Again, these are completed as a developments already in the regulatory stage, and we have also partnership in the key geographies for all these products. On this slide, we are illustrating our approach on the pipeline. We are focused on. We have been focused on building hybrid pipeline, which is a combination of generic pharmaceutical products, particularly oral oncology, which is more complex among other generics, as well as complex products like 505(b)(2), new chemical entities, as well as brand acquisitions, which is driven by business development team. We believe that this combination, this hybrid model is actually the reason and of course prerequisite for sustainable and double-digit growth, both of the top line and also the bottom line. And we have seen this historically. The company has grown fifth consecutive year, double-digit, and we believe that based on what we have been doing so far and what we have now on hand as a projects on both R&D and pipeline, we will continue in the same path. The strategy, of course, is focusing on infusing products in the key therapeutic areas as they are now, which are obviously oncology, CNS, primary care plus lifestyle, and some small niche therapeutic areas which we have already presence, women healthcare and nephrology. However, we are not excluding entering a new therapeutic area based on opportunity. Most likely this will be driven by business development. So on this slide, we would like to basically demonstrate the transformation and what has been built so far since 2014 as a business, and this gives us a lot of confidence again that we will continue with sustainable growth for the future. So currently the company has more than 250 products commercial on the market, which is a huge number. We are supplying currently products to more than 70 countries based on B2B as well as business customer model. As you know, in Asia, we are business to customer mainly, like, whereas export is 100% B2B. We have invested in our manufacturing sites for the last 5 years, more than $75 million. And obviously majority in Taiwan, which is our pivotal manufacturing site. Currently, we have 50 products in the pipeline, R&D 30, 20 business development. And when I say pipeline of business development, these are projects ongoing, which we are working, negotiating, or performing due diligence. Last year, we have invested $100 million in pipeline development. 1/3 invested in R&D, and 2/3 was invested in business development. Mainly, these were licensing fees for in licensing products 505(b)(2), as well as new chemical entities, and of course, majority contributed to payments due to the brand acquisitions, which we completed previously. Currently, we have more than 100 global partnerships. We are very proud with the fact that we are partnering with companies like Eli Lilly, Novartis, Takeda, AstraZeneca. On the business development side, we are working with Sandoz, Stada, Zentiva, Stain, Delpharma, licensing out, which is also a demonstration for our strong network and position to execute on our plan going forward. So this is again this incredible transformation compared to 10 years ago. I just want to remind, in 2014, the company had sales of only $20 million and focus only on Taiwan market. Talking about Southeast Asia, obviously Southeast Asia is our strategic pillar in our strategy for growth in Asia overall. If you look at the Southeast Asia cluster of markets, in the last 5 years, they have achieved 6.2% average growth rate, which is significantly higher than the other markets in Southeast Asia. I'm referring here to Korea and Taiwan, as well as Japan and China. And also, these markets are forecasted to grow double digits in the next 5 years, average growth rate. Also, it's interesting that these markets are very fragmented in terms of competition. There are more than 500 local companies, specifically in our target markets like Thailand, Vietnam, and Philippines. We think definitely there's a lack of strong capability of the local companies to develop high quality and manufacture high quality product, specifically oral oncology and some challenging formulations like soft gel oncology, but also long-acting injectables, biosimilars, etc. Also, there are more and more news coming that big pharma companies, large multinational companies, are considering and already in process of downsizing their activities in Southeast Asia due to prioritization reason, and also this implies with possible divestment and changing business model. What is our advantage to benefit here in the overall opportunity? I think, like I said already, very important is that we have already built a very strong name as a preferred and reliable partner among big multinational companies, among possible companies which have interesting products to license out, like biosimilars, like 505(b)(2), like new chemical entities. So this is again proven by our track record. Also, we have completed already several deals throughout the years with very good success. Not only signing agreement, but also successfully integrating the assets in our portfolio, taking over the commercial activity and taking over manufacturing, and overachieving the business plan. So this is very important. Also, we have quite a broad portfolio, which is mainly focused on chronic disease. And what we have seen in the last 5 years, there's a shift in these markets in Southeast Asia. Markets like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, there's a shift from towards chronic disease treatment. Previously, it was more about emergency antibiotics. Now, with the increasing of the GDP and spent in healthcare and extended actually aging, we see more shift towards chronic disease treatment, which obviously matches our key therapeutic area focus. And last but not least, we have PTT as our largest shareholder, which is the biggest state-owned enterprise in Thailand, which give us a lot of leverage in tapping into especially local opportunities in Southeast Asia. In terms of strategy, obviously it's a combination of organic growth as well as external. Currently, we have more than 50 approvals in Southeast Asia. I'm talking about molecules, products, not SKUs, which is quite a decent size of portfolio. We have more than 20 products under preparation for filing, similar number during now ongoing registration. And like I mentioned earlier, we have 15 products planned to be launched in 2024 in Southeast Asia. We are continuing, obviously, to in-license products and, of course, to roll out our existing internal pipeline, mainly for oncology in Southeast Asia. With regards to the external growth opportunities, the focus will be on M&A and individual brands or portfolio acquisitions. So we have now 2 projects which are very advanced. By advanced, what I mean is that we have completed the due diligence satisfactory, and we have agreed on the terms with the partners. And basically now we are working on respective agreements, and next step will be to basically go to Lotus Port whenever we are ready with the agreements to hopefully get the approval and sign and announce the deals. So these are near-term opportunities which are basically will impact 2024 and beyond. We have 2 additional opportunities, projects, again in Southeast Asia, which are in the phase of due diligence. It's quite interesting opportunities. So these are basically 2 portfolio acquisitions. I just missed to mention the ones that are advanced in the advanced stage. One is a brand acquisition. The other one is actually a company acquisition. In addition to the M&A brand portfolio acquisitions, we are also working on strategic partnership with local manufacturing sites in some of the countries that we are targeting, obviously Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, because we think there's an advantage having access to local manufacturing site. So this is a work in progress, which we'll be giving you update regularly, and we have milestone. So now I would like to just mark the near-term business highlights that you have to basically follow, and you'll be expecting, of course, to hear from us to the end of 2024. On ANRX, so far we haven't received from ANRX fully analyzed data, and what we have received is raw data from the phase 2 study, and we engage ProPharma, which is independent statistical consultant CRO, US-based, to conduct an analysis on top-line data in order to verify the data and conclude on the study findings. So our expectation is that the conclusion on the study results will be by the end of June latest. It might come earlier in June. So of course, as soon as we have this, we will inform you. And based on the conclusion of the study result, we will basically take decision on the next steps. Southeast Asia already explained, so we have 2 advanced projects, so we are quite excited, and we think we can finalize them basically by the end of second quarter this year. With regards to product opportunities from the existing portfolio, so we expect good development with pomalidomide, which is one of the recently launched products. I already mentioned about enzalutamide UK launch. This is the product with sales of more than 350 million euro in the UK. Although majority is related with the enzalutamide tablets, the opinion of our customers, which are again one of the top two of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, is that there's a very good opportunity, although we are with a different formulation. We are also targeting to launch nintedanib by the end of this year. This is also a soft gel product, so we are preparing this launch as we speak. And nintedanib will be our largest product by revenue on the internal pipeline in the next 5 years. So this is a global program similar to lenalidomide. So we are targeting US. We have already tentative approval there, Canada, Asia, Latin America, EU, Japan, and Middle East. With regards to the well-established products and key brands, like for lenalidomide US, like I mentioned, we remain confident that we will have very strong year and significant growth compared to 2023. Also, we have seen first quarter, and there's also very good forecast for Brazil, which is the largest market in Latin America. Our partner is one of the top players there. Also, we have seen a good uptake in Japan with Fuji. Qsymia is performing exceptionally well. In the first quarter, we have seen 15% growth year-on-year on the in-market sales, which is demand, despite of Novo Nordisk semaglutide product. So our product it remains on a double-digit growth pathway, which is great to see. Alimta, also we expect that we'll have a very strong year in Taiwan with the product. The good news here is that the price cut in Taiwan for Alimta is actually below what we expected, so we will have favorable impact on the gross margin. Cialis in Taiwan, I mentioned already, first quarter we have seen 10% year-on-year growth, and we are also ready to switch now the supply chain from Eli Lilly to Lotus manufactured product with generic API from Q3 onwards, and this will translate into significant improvement of the gross margin. Obviously, we will continue with focusing on what we are currently have as projects, both in the R&D as well as the business development. And the ultimate objective is to fuel the growth of the company in the outer years, and hopefully through some new BD opportunities even 2024. So with that, I would like to hand over the presentation to Darko.
Thank you very much, Meta. So I will start my part with reviewing our key financial metrics for the first quarter of 2024, followed by an analysis of the factors driving these numbers. So in Q1 of 2024, our consolidated revenue was 4.2 billion Taiwanese dollars, marking a decline of approximately 7% compared to the same period last year. The majority of this variance stemmed from our US operations, primarily influenced by a timing factor. We will delve deeper into that dynamics shortly. So our gross margin for this quarter stood at 55%, consistent with the average margin of 2023, but slightly lower than that of Q1 of 2023. So this decrease was primarily contributable to reduced revenue from our high-margin product in the lenalidomide US. Operating expenses remained consistent with the prior year, with SG&A costs experiencing an increase, mainly due to the elevated equity-based compensation expenses linked with the higher Lotus shares in recent years. And conversely, the R&D costs were lower this year due to the absence of one-off European regulatory fees accrued in 2023. So in terms of non-operating factors, our financing costs remain stable, while the other gains saw a significant increase driven by a stronger US dollars currency benefiting from our US denominated assets. So the company's effective tax rate remained steady at 21%. Consequently, our net profit for the quarter was approximately 1.04 billion Taiwanese dollars, with a net margin of approximately 25%, mirroring last year's performance average gross margin, net margin. Despite a decrease in the earnings per share by 13% compared to last year, we attribute this decline mainly to the timing factors, right? So let's talk about a little bit more detail on the next slide here. So in Q1 of 2024, the consolidated net revenue amounted to 4.2 billion, which represented the, as Peter mentioned, 7% decline compared to the same period last year. And most of that variance this quarter came from the US business, and a lot of that was timing as expected. So you can see the export sales outside of Asia was about 18% lower comparing to the same quarter last year. And the US revenue was approximately 600 million lower compared to the same period. But the rest of the global markets revenue increased about 190 million. And the US revenue was lower in Q1 this year, mainly due to lenalidomide and Suboxone revenue decrease. The lenalidomide revenue was lower is mainly due to the absence of the replenishment after the launch of 2.5 and 20 milligram last year. And we said also at several occasions previously that an annual allocated volume in the US market for this product is fixed and also is increased year on year. And at present, we still see shipments are projected to peak in Q2 and Q3 this year, with replenishment in Q4 contingent upon the shipment status in the preceding quarters. And so we still have the same view. Nonetheless, those shipment volumes will also be adjusted based on the market demands and the manufacturing status of our plants. We'll provide the regular updates on the conditions, right? So the other reason why the US revenue was low this quarter was due to the generic Suboxone competition. In Q1, we had approximately 230 million NTD less revenue from generic Suboxone when compared with the same period last year. During the quarter, we had lost prescription shares to Ingenious, the fourth generic player coming to the market. Ingenious seems to have taken shares not only from us, but also from Dr. Reddy's as well. Now to sit currently neck to neck with Viatris in terms of prescription. So as Dr. Perta mentioned, the market seems to have stabilized into two groups. The brand, Avigen, Lotus, and Dr. Reddy's still have the largest pieces of the pie, occupying approximately 80% of the prescriptions. And then Viatris and Ingenious shares approximately the remaining 20%. And the good news is also that the market seems to have stabilized so far. And interestingly, the data also show that the brand was starting to lose some prescription shares after more than 3 years steadily holding their shares over 30%. Now, we also hope that could be a source of additional business that we can look to acquire in the later months of this year or in the coming years. And then, of course, there is the overall growing opiate substance abuse market itself, which is growing. As probably you have heard previously, we will continue to monitor this market, the dynamics in the market, and this product. It seems continue to be a substantial business for Lotus. Now, outside of the U.S. market, the revenue from other global markets grew approximately 190 million Taiwanese dollars, and those were mainly driven by replenishment of lenalidomide delivered to Europe and Brazil, and enzalutamide replenishment in Latin America. Now, moving to the Asian side of the business, the Korean revenue grew by approximately 10%. Weight management brand Qsimia, contraceptive brand Mercilon, and osteoporosis brand Evista, as well as the generic business, all saw very healthy year-on-year growth this quarter. Taiwan domestic business grew by about 5% overall, but some of the brands grew exceptionally well. For example, the ED brand, Cialis, grew remarkably 10% year-on-year and for the first quarter. And then the first NCE, the new chemical entity in Taiwan, our Taiwan business, Zepzelca for lung cancer, grew 445% this quarter compared to last year. So quite remarkable growth. So the SEA, the Southeast Asia cluster revenue came in lower than the previous year, largely due to the timing in the Vietnam market. So last year, Lotus launched the 20 and 80 milligram of Northern soft gel in Vietnam in Q1 and shipped the launch stock of the product in February last year. And this year, the replenishment of the product is now planned in May. So other than Vietnam, other SEA markets all grew double-digit year-on-year. Now, moving on to the next slide, you can see the overall the therapeutic balance of the portfolio remains unchanged largely, was approximately 45% of the total revenue came from oncology and 19% from CNS, about 25% from primary care and lifestyle, and the remaining from women's healthcare and nephrology. So this quarter, about 56% of the consolidated revenue came from Asia and about 44% from export markets outside of Asia. So the US market remained as the largest export market, accounted for 35% of the total revenue, and other global markets about 10%. And Korea was still the largest Asian market, representing about 38% of the revenue of the company, followed by our Taiwanese domestic market, accounting for approximately 15%. Now, moving to the next slide. Finally, let's take a look at the cash and capital structure of the company. As of the end of the last quarter, Lotus had a cash and equivalents totaling approximately 3.1 billion Taiwanese dollars, which is about 1.35 billion higher comparing with the beginning of the year. Interest-bearing debt of the company amounted to approximately 11.3 billion Taiwanese dollars, which was essentially the same as the beginning of the year. Therefore, the net interest-bearing debt of the company totaled to approximately 8.2 billion. This was about 800 million lower than that of the 9 billion at the same period last year. Now, the last 12 months EBITDA ending this quarter, Q1 2024, was 6.0775 billion, which was a bit lower than that of 6.35 billion last year. However, due to the lower net interest-bearing debt, the net gearing of the company actually reduced from 1.41 times last year to approximately 1.35 times this year. So we're currently quite comfortable with this low level of leverage, which gives us a great amount of flexibility to finance business expansions when any suitable target presents itself, right? So that ends our presentation. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter and Piotr. So now let's kick off to the Q&A sessions. So attendees can use the raise hand function or type your questions in the chat box. Just a reminder, please state your name and company name before asking. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is KJ from QIC. So first question is regarding the Southeast Asia M&A strategy. Okay, I have a few questions here. So in the presentation, you stated that the MNCs, they are downsizing their activities or capacity or whatever that is in Southeast Asia. So the first question is there a specific reason for that? Okay. The second one is you also stated that high quality products is the major unmet need in the Southeast Asia region. Is it because of the lack of capability to consume those products? And the third one is you also stated that you are acquiring the sales platform and also the products. So is there any interesting products locally that you see worth acquiring? Okay, so basically, and the last is our proposed target or the target of our preference is a national local platform or a cross-border across Southeast Asia platform? Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, I'll take this question. So on the first question, I mean, why MSN are basically reconsidering their strategy? I mean, they're obviously reprioritizing portfolio, reprioritizing markets, and I just can refer to Sanofi example. So they divested recently, not this year, but in their business in Indonesia, which was acquired by Kalbe. So that was a huge transaction, big deal. And I think there will be more coming in. So, I mean, I cannot comment on their behalf, but what we see in the public domain is that they want to optimize resources, right? And which comes with the optimization on the R&D, on the commercial. And one of the options is obviously outsourcing to distributors like Zurich. The other option is divestments. So the second question was on basically the quality. I think this is a evolution, right? So this has been seen in other countries also. In the countries which were, I mean, when you have these Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, the local industry has been basically gaining experience throughout the years. I think out of these three markets, in my opinion, Vietnam is probably the more advanced. towards improving the quality standards. And I think authorities in the countries, as well as obviously, I mean, the nation, they're raising the awareness about the necessity of quality products, and this is driving regulations, incentives, and all kind of efforts to improve the quality of the products. And I think this is a long way to go. And there's definitely opportunity for high quality products for sure. But I think in many of these countries, there are many companies which are still far behind the curve, which again opens opportunity. And some of these countries, if I look at specific therapeutic areas, for example, there are no oral oncology facilities, countries like Thailand, like Philippines. So this is basically, we see this as an opportunity. Similar to manufacturing quality is the development capabilities, right? So formulation analytical development, especially for specific products, more challenging. As even generics is lacking there. So this is this takes time to build this capability, these resources, right? I mean, to be frankly, I mean, honest, Taiwan has been also struggling with resources on R&D, particularly analytical formulation development. This is the reason majority of our key leadership team in R&Ds are expat from India, because India is obviously one of the best countries when it comes to resources. Third is what we prefer as a target, right, is, I mean, obviously the product, what we like is when it comes to brand acquisitions are obviously products which are well established, right? This is the definition for us of the brand acquisition. So this has to be well established. Whether it is local, owned by a local company or by a multinational company is irrelevant as long as it has a good skill and of course promising outlook and product life cycle. So our experience is very hard to find opportunities from local companies. It's very hard. Typically, I mean, we have looked into some products. They are divesting mainly low value products with some challenges on supply chain, on quality. So we look into opportunities, but we pass on this. So our preference is to deal with big multinational companies, because I think also there's much easier going in terms of negotiations, due diligence, and then transition period, so an integration.
Understood. Thank you very much.
No problem. Welcome.
So can I ask another question regarding NRX 101?
Yes.
Yeah. So on your, I think it's not a pipeline chart, but there is a chart with all the lines, and the NRX 101 is included. So I would like to confirm one thing. So once we decide not to go for NRX 101, which means we will exempt from paying for the phase 3 and also the milestone and etc., right?
Yeah, if we decide so, yeah, that's right. We are not under obligation to continue, and if we decide not to continue, we are, of course, we don't have obligation to pay milestones, etc. Yeah. So basically the roadmap is, if in the best possible scenario, if the study outcome is successful, then we will verify the success in a meeting with FDA. And basically what we would expect as an outcome from this meeting is guidance from FDA on the phase 3 as a scope. And based on the scope, we can determine the clinical cost for the phase 3 as well as the timeline, right? And if these are in line with the business case, then we proceed. This is basically the plan. And because if the FDA comes and say, I mean, you have to do something which is cost you will cost extra money, like double the cost, or it will take another 2-3 years. I mean, this becomes no longer feasible because it's not only about the cost, it's also about you have to hit the launch within the patent period, right? Because there's a patent of the product. So I mean, obviously, if you don't have enough commercial years within the patent period, you cannot return the investment. So this is the whole concept. I'm not so sure I was clear enough.
Understood.
So we have an incoming question from the chat box from Kevin, KTB. Kevin is asking how much of the revenue in April 2024 came from lenalidium, and how to evaluate the contribution of lenalidium for the whole year. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I guess I will take this. I would take this question. I think there's a party going on outside. So if you can hear me, okay. Maybe the investors who are familiar with the earning calls in the past, quarters since we launched the product is familiar, with how I'm going to answer the question. We have been particularly cautious when we answer exactly how much revenue is related to lenalidomide for two reasons. Number one is volume, because we're under obligation of the settlement agreement not to disclose what is the volume allocated to us, each year, past or future. That's number one. So otherwise, it will reconstitute a breach of the agreement that we signed with BMS. That's number one. Number two is price. And as you probably know, that there are other generic companies, including companies like Teva, Redis, and many others who are competing against us in the US. And there are different channels the product is sold. Our channel is different from many others. And if you pay attention to their earnings calls, and I don't believe any of them would actually mention very specifically what proportion of their revenue come from lenalidomide and what is the volume or anything that can lead the investors who or competitors to insinuate the price, right? So this is dangerous for us. But what I can tell you on a full year basis, the US business, according to the plan, contributes approximately 40% of our revenue. And this is more or less consistent every quarter. And the US business currently really contains two large products, lenalidomide and buprenorphine, right? So by logic, lenalidomide on a full year basis must be less than 40% of our revenue, right? So I think that's as much as I can go, regrettably, in detail, right?
I would like to follow up with the previous question. I think there was a chart portraying the first quarter of 2023 and the first quarter of 2024 revenue, and the with different countries and the contribution of different countries. Okay, so I believe that CFO just stated that the US, the decline of revenue in the first quarter of 2024 in the US, that had been stabilized. And also CFO stated that the full year target will be reached.
Yes.
Am I understanding it correctly? Yes, right? Okay.
That's right.
So which means very likely in the future, in the following quarters, we will not see the US the bar of the US turn negative. It's rather be more positive or more stabilized. Is that correct?
That's your understanding is correct. Yes, and so the U.S. The negative bar is largely due to the timing of lenalidomide. Like I said, right? So basically, what we're expecting, from Q2 and Q3 onwards, since U.S. lenalidomide on a full year basis is a net increase. So, from Q2 and Q3 onwards, it should be a year-on-year increase. That is correct understanding.
Thank you. So I have one more question because I believe this CFO stated that because of the low leverage rate right now, so in the future, if we want to expand, that we have abundant room for us to do more leverage. So I would like to, because it's a more strategic question. So for
Okay.
our expansion, we would like to use bank loans more than equity.
That's a very good question, actually. So let me answer you in two stages. So number one is with our cash on hand and committed facilities, credit facilities, right? We have the capacity to finance up to $300 million approximately in terms of acquisition, right? So that's pretty sizable, in terms of acquisition deal size, and typically the companies and business companies or business or portfolios that we acquire, those are companies with existing profit and existing EBITDA, right? So these are so to speak, EBITDA adding to the company and the EPS adding to the platform, right? So what we believe when we actually, let's say if we really spend that $300 million to make one or multiple acquisitions with those profit acquired, this potentially would have a significant impact on the share price upwards, hopefully, right? So this gives us two possibilities. One is with additional profitability. This gives us possibility to increase leverage, like you mentioned earlier, or this decreases the potential dilution to the existing shareholders, which increases their willingness to consider equity if that's needed, right? So basically, because of higher share price. So this actually opens up two different possibilities. I don't know exactly at that point of time which route we will choose, but those remains possible. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have one more question from Kevin from KTB, asking from the chat box. Can you give us more color on the lenalidomide business out of US? For example, the shipment ratio within US versus out of US. Thank you.
Lenalidomide business outside the US.
Yeah, the key market now outside US for, like I mentioned, is Brazil. So we launched the product last year as a first generic through Eurofarm. Eurofarm is one of the leading companies there, and it is going very well. So they're gaining market share. I mean, we see also a good opportunity in Asia overall with launches in Southeast Asia, also Japan. Europe, although last year was a bit challenging because of the competition, it's coming back. Actually, we have more demand. price went down, but significant volume. We are also targeting to participate in a very big tender in Mexico next year. So we are under registration there to partner. And yeah, so we are also expecting some launches in hopefully in Middle East. So of course, compared to US, the opportunity is more, but it's still quite decent for us as a volume and also revenue and gross profit.
So due to the time constraint, I think we should wrap up the call here. Thank you, Peta and Beata and Lotus Pharma team for having this call today to share the business update, and thanks for everyone joining this call. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Lotus team or your sales representative at Cathay Securities. And thank you, everyone, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.